Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day wherever you are around the world. And welcome back to our post-match reaction to, of course, Liverpool losing our final league away game of the season, of course, against Brighton. Of course, we did lose by 3-2. And look, is anybody asked? Not really. Let's be perfectly honest. Look, Liverpool are Premier League champions, and at the end of the day, it's just one massive party. Let's be perfectly honest. Really, in the assessment of the game, look, it is now a run out from now until the end of the season. Of course, Liverpool are trying different things in the game, of course, and again, look, of course, losing a game of football is a bit disappointing. But once again, look, who gives a crap? Liverpool are Premier League champions. It's the end of the season, and who really cares? Look, if Liverpool had still not won the league title and we'd lost tonight against Brighton, then of course, look, there's definitely a conversation there, really. But look, at the end of the day, Liverpool are Premier League champions, and we are literally on the beach, of course. Obviously, the boys were out in Dubai for the last 5 days, of course, which I think that's going to, of course, be the narrative of the story coming out of the game, unfortunately, is, of course, Liverpool, should they be punished, blah, blah, blah. No, it's a load of absolute rubbish, really. But, fair play to Brighton, of course. Obviously, they are hoping for other situations to happen, of course, to get European football for next season, of course, and they have put themselves now properly, in the prime position, really, to be able to do that, of course. Obviously, I think if Chelsea end up finishing 7th, I think it is, then they will, or 6th or 7th, I think they'll end up getting Conference League football again. So again, they're obviously hoping for other things to happen, really. But on a Liverpool side of things, I think, of course, like we said, the game and the result necessarily doesn't mean anything. But I think in terms of, again, individuals, again, that Arne Slot will probably be looking at, of course. One of those is Federico Chiesa, who again starts tonight, of course. I think he's broke a record for the most amount of defeats by a single Liverpool player. I'm not too sure on the stat, but it's a bad one to have, really. But I think every appearance he's had for Liverpool, we've ended up losing the game, which isn't great, really. I think apart from one, I think the Southampton away to the Carabao Cup game, I think that's the only one where Liverpool haven't lost, really, which again, it's not really great when you look at it anyway. But I do think there are other individuals that we probably need to speak about, of course. Obviously, the two of them is Joel Konsa and obviously Kostas Tsimikas. I think both of them might be on the chopping block in the summer. Obviously, Kostas most likely because of the news with Milos Kerkez. Of course, it looks like that's going to be advancing. Of course, we'll talk about that in tomorrow's episode anyway. But I do think it's of course, I think it's quite clear the players that did start tonight, or of course, the fringe players that did start tonight. I think these are the people that might be leaving the football club. Those obviously include, like I said, Joel Konsa, obviously, Kostas Tsimikas, Harvey Elliott as well, I think, is also in that bracket. Obviously, Darwin Núñez as well coming on. So again, I think it's number one thing is for Liverpool to, again, keep these players fit, and obviously giving these fringe players really obviously minutes for the club and so on as well. But I do think these are the players that are going to be leaving the football club at some point in the summer, and of course whether or not we do end up selling somebody like a Harvey Elliott, again, obviously the only person who knows there is Arne Slot and Richard Hughes, of course. But again, I think obviously with all the news going around at the minute, of course, that position could be filled for Liverpool in the summer, which again, of course, Liverpool have to make some room there anyway. But of course, on the game, I think obviously the big turning point was, of course, that miss from Mo Salah that could have made it 3-1 Liverpool, and unfortunately Mo didn't bury it, which again was a bit of a weird one for Mo. I think if he hits it with his right foot, I think it goes in. Obviously, he tries and get it on his left, and then, it just goes wide. It's a bad miss from Mo. It's unlike Mohamed Salah, but still, I think that was the turning point, really, where Brighton got back into the game, and then they ended up going on to win the game right at the end, of course. Obviously, Joel Konsa keeping everybody on side, which again is a bit of a shame, but still, look, at the end of the day, who cares? Liverpool again are going to be crowned Premier League champions next week. I think again, us v Palace, I think both teams should be given a guard of honour, really, because again, look how good they've done winning the FA Cup. But still, obviously Liverpool will get a guard of honour again next week at Anfield, and of course we'll be lifting the Premier League trophy next week, of course, as well. So it'll be a very, very interesting day, of course, next week, and the whole parade and and everything around it, of course, anyway. But look, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section down below. Very intrigued to know your guys' thoughts on the result and on, of course, individual players. Of course, man of the match, shout, again, you could give it to a few, players. The Dom was quite decent tonight, of course, getting that goal, really good goal for the second one. Connor Bradley as well, I thought did okay. I know a couple of people will give Harvey Elliott man of the match as well, just judging off social media a bit quickly anyway. But again, look, I think the main man of the match goes to the away cop as well. After the game, absolutely tearing it down towards the end, of course, as well. But look, let me know your guys' thoughts anyway down in the comment section down below. I want to know your guys' thoughts, of course. Apologies, this isn't live as well, that it is pre-recorded and it is a pretty quick video. But again, just running out of time tonight anyway. But look, we'll be back tomorrow. Anyway, we're going to talk about Frimpong, going to talk about Kirkes, going to talk about Vert as well, and get your guys' thoughts down in the comment section down below anyway. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on Brighton 3, Liverpool 2. And until next time, I will see you guys tomorrow once again anyway. But yeah, until next time, that's going to be it from me. I've been calling out from the Cop Council. See you guys a bit later on. Ta-ra.